Hey guys, it's June here, and I'm gonna review Skyrim. Yay, I know, right? Kind of a late review, but here goes. The gameplay, it feels like cutting not living objects. It kind of feels unrealistic, but still cool, and there are always cool end-killed executions, but it doesn't happen every single time. The game is big as hell, so there's a lot of walking and horse riding. Many caves and dungeons can be explored, but they are sometimes really boring unless they're handmade by the developers themselves. And dragon fighting are always surprising and interesting, but when it gets to like the 50th dragon that you fought, it gets boring over time. And yeah, basically you could go anywhere you see, and you know, that's how cool the gameplay is. The visuals were amazing because, you know, if you could imagine Skyrim, it's basically everything in the game, unless mods did the job. But other than that, the game developers polished it very well, but I wish there were more cutscenes, because they usually have it like by the end of a guild or something important, because you know, I guess they're low budget because they're really good. And everything from creatures to human to different races and different cities, they all look so beautiful, detailed, and it's very rare to find glitches and unpolished areas.
You can call me Anne
Now,
Marie.
the story was truly amazing. Well, from certain perspectives, because in some section of it could get pretty repetitive. While the dragon story is cool, the war is kind of cool on paper, but once you realize it, it's not as cool as you think it would be. And the story missions could sometimes be fun-ish, but also repetitive, because most of the time you just kill a bunch of people unless you're going undercover for this mansion in the High Elf area. It's epic, to say the least, I guess. The ending is pretty epic, but glitchy. You can't even loot the, final boss battle. And it was pretty overhyped, but once you're fighting with the legendary heroes, it gets pretty cool. Just pretty cool, with your shouts and stuff. But there's not enough dialogue to change the story, so it doesn't really add that much replay value compared to a game like Fallout. But if you compare it to like Oblivion, then yeah, I could see some similarities where you can't make that much differences. But other than that, there's no alternative ending for Skyrim. I'm sorry. From amazing soundtracks to really good Nordic voice acting to really good weapon noises, they are all top-notch except for weapon sounds, like when you're attacking someone, because it sounds very fake compared to games like Demon Soul, which is another excellent high-quality game except for their voice acting, but we're not gonna get into that today. The voice acting, it sounds very, very Nordic. I love it. It's appropriate. And the music you could just hear the Nords praying or praising dragons, because, you know, the main character is a dragonborn. And, well, you could say some are praying to the dragonborn, some are praying to the dragons. While everything is good, the animals, they sound a bit too I don't know, it feels like they're unrealistic, but it could be just I'm not hunting that much, because hunting in this game is not exactly spectacular, but it's in there, so. And open world wise, it's very, very, very big. There are tons of dungeons, tons of cities to explore and, you know, communicate, socialize, and everything you would imagine in a real Nordic city. But here's the weirdest thing.
Busy doing the fish stick. It's a very delicate
most of the dungeons are random. I wouldn't say random generalized, not generalized, generated, but they are very boring unless they're handcrafted. And the cities, they all look basically the same thing except for the main cities like Whiterun and yeah, that's the only one I find memorable.
You're free to go.
It's amazing how big this game is, but since it's so big, and, well, some people just call it ginormous, it has a fair share of ridiculousness, like really strange glitches. But there are a lot of good patches for it, and PS3 has its own share of problems, like the DLC's not running properly. That's cool though, I don't really care because I'll review the DLC next time. But other than that, glitches aside, the game is really good on its own, but it's not as good when you compare it to the Fallout series and the other Elder Scrolls games. The replay value. Replay value is amazing because I almost went up to 300 hours, and when I say almost, I mean 290 hours into the game. Yeah, just one save data alone. There are so many side missions, from really small side missions like delivering something to really, well, I wouldn't say really big side missions, but different multiple choices side missions, which gives you some kind of replay value. There are different races and genders, which it's really cool to customize. While you can't exactly change your different race and genders in the game,